The third youngest sister had actually really loved her husband, really felt excited about this relationship. But as soon as was official, as soon as they were married, she lost all of her drive, connection, love for this man. And the only thing she could think about was getting out of the marriage. And so until the background, until the ancestral understanding of what happened within the family was understood, could she recognize, oh my gosh, that's what's happened. That's what's kind of shut everything off for me.
Hello, and welcome to the Liminal Frequencies podcast, where we dive deep into healing frequencies from our ancestors, frequencies of the earth and stars, sound, color, and light, and all of the subtle ways that we can tap into our unique vibration to awaken the highest timeline and integrate the fullest expression of our being. Now let's dive in. Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk again and dive deeper with Johanna about family constellation therapy, inherited trauma, about people pleasing and patterns of validation that we can drop into. Let's read a little more from Lila Williams on our center. Let go of fixed expectations and time frames. Try to be patient, flexible, adaptable, and open-minded. You are well on the way to arriving at your heart's desire. An invisible force gently pushes and pulls you towards your true center. Let go and let it flow. It has been a long journey, but the destination is so much closer than you think. I love connecting more with our true center, knowing that there's all this stuff outside of ourselves, all these relationships, all this opportunity for validation, but what we really want to follow is our own center of gravity and our own purpose, because that is where we find the juiciness and the passion and the purpose. So let's dive in. So Johanna, what do you think about when people are struggling with people pleasing? Is there a balance between taking time for yourself, kind of integrating in your own space, and actually practicing the boundaries with other people?
I think that's the only place we can really start, is that place of practice. And to kind of notice and feel what's going on in our body when we do prioritize ourselves and prioritize our own needs. Because I think at first in that practice, we might actually say, oh, I'm not able to help you, friend, and then deal with kind of the guilt that will naturally arise because somewhere along the line in our childhood, we've associated doing what the other person asks of us as being the good friend or the good daughter or the good person. And dealing with the guilt that naturally arises when we, pull back because we're exhausted or we just can't do the thing that the person has asked. Mm-hmm. That guilt is a natural part of changing those tendencies. In fact, the founder of Family Constellations says that there is no transformation at all without guilt. That guilt's almost one of the essential ingredients in really changing from where we are to that healthier place of where we'd like to be. And so if we anticipate and get ready for the guilt that's there, there's a part of us that can then support ourselves as we're saying, there's the guilt. Yeah. Welcome. I figured you'd come and be able to work with it a little bit.
Welcome it to your table. Say I expected you and let's talk about it.
Exactly. I expected you. Here we go. That's a great way to put it.
I have some Jewish background, and so guilt was like a golden chocolate coin that we would have as kids at Hanukkah. So it's so strange to have that be so much part of the culture and also part of the the ceremonies.
Well, that's it. And this is how things get embedded in our body, that we think, I shouldn't do anything that makes me feel guilty. And then it's just a shutdown. I guess I have to keep people pleasing. And
Yeah.
so instead of it being a closed door or something that we avoid, I love what you said. It's a welcomed guest. Here you are. I was expecting you.
Yeah.
That we're able to sort of talk to that part of ourselves inside. No, 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 no. We're changing this. People
Yeah.
pleasing as to say it a different way, it's the person that overgives in the relationship often ends up collapsing the relationship. It creates such a deep imbalance in the relationship. And as a recovered overgiver, I can say I was doing that behavior from a place of wanting to keep the connection solid and good, wanting to deal with the nervousness that I felt if the person moved away too far. And so I would do the next good thing to keep them close. And this comes from my own background and my own, what we call in this work, the break in the bond.
Right.
That has us leave ourselves, we step over our own capacity, and we're very much in overgiving.
Yeah.
And so the guilt that might come in, you've also got to look at the part of you that you want to repair, that you want to heal, that you want to give some space to help yourself to feel better.
Yeah. And it was interesting too. It came up another story about somebody who had a gallbladder, just gallbladder stones after a marriage that failed, and it was this desire to keep the marriage going, to swallow the anger, and also, a fear of what could happen. And this was from childhood. What happens if the marriage fails? And this is from childhood, but this could also be ancestral. Many of us, we would die, right, without a husband, or we would be condemned, or a number of other things that could happen.
Well, absolutely. It's so interesting. You reminded me, and I hope I won't mix up the case. It was 3 women from a heritage where arranged marriages were the norm. And so the youngest sister, after seeing her 2 older sisters, one had an arranged marriage with a much older man and was very unhappy in her relationship. The second sister refused to marry at all and just kind of took herself out of the family altogether because she was so afraid of what that fate would bring. The third youngest sister had actually really loved her husband, really felt excited about this relationship. But as soon as it was official, as soon as they were married, she lost all of her drive, connection, love for this man. And the only thing she could think about was getting out of the marriage. And so until the background, until the ancestral understanding of what happened within the family was understood, could she recognize, oh my gosh, that's what's happened. That's what's kind of shut everything off for me.
Wow. So do you work with couples and whole families?
I work with individuals or couples, typically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. So
there's been a lot of time I've worked with a sort of a mother-daughter or that kind of a combination, wherever there's a lot of challenges that maybe need an objective eye to help them through.
I love it. And also, the people pleasing made me think also of validation, that even if it's not like a really close relationship where you want to keep the relationship close, it can also just be a pattern that people wanting validation, like in their career and also in relationships, just wanting that like continuation of the I love you, I see you, I witness you, and maybe the things they weren't getting in childhood.
Oh, 100%. It's almost like a red flag within ourselves if we notice we're really preoccupied with other people telling us where they approve of us, they love us, they think we did a good job with whatever. This is a really strong indicator. We've got to look at that unmet need of being seen, validated, loved as we are as a child. That it can be really, really difficult, but the remedy for that is to really have that practice of choosing yourself, of accepting yourself, and not really needing anybody else to understand your decision or think what you've done is great. This real feeling of, I don't need anybody else to tell me I did a good job. It's most important that I feel I brought my best and I, came with an open heart and did what I could.
Yeah. I think it's funny. Sometimes I practice this in a way that
I get really good feedback a lot of the time from people, and occasionally not so good, but most of the time I feel like really blessed with the people that I work with and what they share with me. And sometimes it's like, okay, I try to have that detachment, like, oh, I'm not surprised, because even if somebody doesn't say that my work was good, I stand behind it. I always stand behind it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other things, any other practices when it comes to that, or awarenesses that you thought were interesting in your practice?
I think seeking outside validation is a little bit like patching a slow leak in your tire.
Oh,
That left unattended, you're going to wake up with a completely flat tire one morning because that person hasn't said, "Hey, I love what you did," or "Hey, I agree with this." That we've really got to patch that up inside of us and be able to put more of our inward focus on agreeing to myself instead of needing others to agree to me.
and having like these self love practices, right?
Yeah, it can be a really great way to build that up.
I've thought about love languages. I'm sure you work with love languages too in the practice.
Oh,
So,
yeah, super fascinating. Yeah.
um, and also like what are my love languages, and how can I give myself those things
Yeah,
internally?
what a great way to turn that around. I love it.
Yeah, how does that play out with working with those different love languages, or with if you work with a partners, or seeing how people can acknowledge what the other ones are if they don't know what they are, or they don't even know what their own love languages are, or
Hmm. The truth is, we all give and receive love very differently. What makes one person feel loved might make the other person feel smothered. And so, the more we know ourselves and the more we can know our partner, the better equipped we are to have a very successful relationship that just feels good. We've got to kind of have that as the foundation of not just getting to know, I don't know, your favorite foods or your favorite color, but that deeper stuff where it comes to relational compatibility, certainly knowing your partner's background and the things that feel like the trigger buttons that can really bring you closer, because the more I understand your background, the more I know how I'm able to support you.
wow. And did those, I'm just curious, did those change over time when you do work?
I believe they do. That's been my life experience. I think we are who we are. We've had the experiences we've had. There's no way to erase that by any means. But as we understand it more deeply, as we understand ourselves more deeply, we're much less reactive. We need actually much less from our partner because we're able to give ourselves more of what we need. And then what the partner can generate is kind of like, the cherry on top of the sundae, but it's not the oxygen that's required to keep it going. It leads to much more healthy relationships.
Yes, the oxygen. Don't forget about the oxygen. Like, don't try and eat a 2,000 calorie diet in weightlifting if you don't have enough oxygen. You
Yes.
know, it's amazing. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share about that like self love, or the love languages, or ways that people can tap into that?
Hmm. I think the whole thing with self love, when it moves beyond, bubble baths and candles and essential oils, is that is that real piece of I'm gonna commit to giving to myself what I'd always wished had come from my mom or my dad. And then this even bigger, broader acceptance that, knowing their background, knowing their childhood, I believe they would have given more to me if they could have, if more had been given to them. And so, you know what, mom or dad, I'll take it from here. I'll start to give myself the things that I really wish had come from you, which a lot of us who are craving to be accepted and loved by other people, yeah, for sure, we didn't get it from mom or dad at times, but we likely are pretty stingy with giving it to ourselves. And
Yeah.
so if we can start there, it takes a lot of the pressure off of the love relationships. It's the deepest healing way to work with that.
Yeah, it's so important for us to
Mhm.
reparent ourselves, and because we're the ones that are the only ones that are really available for us when it comes down to
Yeah,
it.
when it comes down to it, yeah.
Yeah, that's really sweet. This has been a really fun conversation. I have a couple more questions. What is a way that the listeners can tap into their liminal frequencies and be more expansive?
Mm. I think the practice of giving up the fight for what we didn't get enough of as a child allows us to be much more open, spacious, and expansive to let in the good. When we've dropped the fight, when we're living much more from a place of acceptance and understanding, we've got a lot more space inside of us to become and follow that path that really draws us forward.
I love that. Yeah, it's beautiful. I think that, yeah, and like self care to me, when you said that, it's not bubble baths, I immediately thought of like acceptance, of just
Mm.
like, I used to be like, I am really outdoorsy. I love going out in nature, but part of my conquest to go out into nature and do a lot of things were because of, I just felt was lost time in a hard relationship. And once I was through that, I was like just ready to take on the world and just have so much fun. And what I had realized after, a few traumas out in nature, I was like, I need to just give myself the softness and the permission to be gentle with myself. And that is the acceptance and self love. Like, yes, I know that sometimes it's my self love is like, hey, let's go dancing, let's go do this thing. And sometimes the acceptance is to say, like, hey, like right now in this moment, that's not really what we're going to be doing. We're feeling like we need to take care of this or be with this thing or talk to this part.
Mhm.
That's
Awesome.
wonderful. So tell me about how people can get in touch with you or any little offerings you want to share.
Absolutely. Your listeners could certainly visit my website, www.johannalynn.ca. In fact, I've just created this really intensive personality profile called Reveal Your Family Imprint. And so, if your listeners kind of want to dive into who they are inside of their whole family system, it's a great quiz. It's very comprehensive. And the results kind of dive into a lot of what I share with my clients in my private practice. And of course, if you're able to do this with your spouse or with a sibling, the more people that are in your world that you understand deeply, the easier that connection and that relationship is going to flow. I'm mostly on LinkedIn and YouTube. I do some YouTube videos and I write a weekly newsletter on LinkedIn. So you can find me there under Johanna Lynn.
Oh, I would love to take that quiz. That
Awesome.
sounds great. Can you share a little bit more about what the family imprint is?
Yes, so I'm the founder of the Family Imprint Institute, and that really came from the fact that we are born imprinted with our parents and our grandparents' experiences, unresolved traumas, all the things that happened to them. So if we use a computer analogy, it's like we're not born with a clean hard drive. We're born sharing an operating system with our parents and our grandparents. So we've got this kind of like encyclopedia of experiences and information in our body. And that's why sometimes we might think, oh, that's just how my relationship goes, or that's just how I am with money. We have to start thinking about ourselves in the larger context so we can shine light and find resolutions a lot quicker when we consider all of ourselves.
Wow, that's great. And I was just talking to somebody about how we often, even our friends, our clients, our family members, we have old trauma, karmic things from past lives or from intergenerational. To me, intergenerational trauma does feel kind of like a past life because you feel like it was you. It was you. You shared the same DNA. You shared the same body with your mother and grandmother, right? At one
Yeah.
moment in time. And so when we clear that, even if it's just us that's doing the clearing, it has an incredible impact on the relationship itself and how we can, to me, move into a space of alchemization with what's unfurling within us. If we, every time we think about a person, we have this response, this triggering response, that's going to be heavy to carry with us at all times.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. It's been so fun to share with you. It's been really nice to get to know what you do, and I'm excited to take your quiz and dive in a little bit more with your beautiful work.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. It's been great to chat with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care.
What an incredible amount of insight I hope everybody has received from this interview with Johanna. And it's amazing how we can connect and understand why we are the way we are from the outside influences of our family, and also connect internally to make sure that we get plenty of oxygen and our energy levels are balanced so that we can show up in our relationships. Now let's drop into a little guided meditation, connecting with your breath, letting your fingers and toes melt and relax with your breath as you find yourself in a space, a living room within your heart, sitting at the table with your immediate family members or the family members you choose to do this work with, imagining how it feels as a smaller person to sit in the chair, imagining who's sitting across from you, looking into their eyes, asking them how they're doing today, what's coming up for them. And then the person to the right of you, connecting with them, seeing how they're holding their fork, how they're eating their food. They might share with you something deeper about what they're going through right now, and they may not, but you accept that. Across from them, who's sitting at the table? Are they available or unavailable? And what is the reflection that you receive from them, or the projection that you receive from them? And lastly, connecting with your own energy in this space and the needs of yourself as a child. And as you drop in deeper, you can feel this beautiful fountain of nourishment of your own reparenting process, feeling what you're needing, what you're tapping into, and what you're resourcing from within, and how it is such an incredible wealth of beauty that is coming up, such rich waters that are coming up and opening up where there may not have been a lot of resources. Connecting with that, surrounding the entire room, the living room, all of your family members with a beautiful crystalline ball, and setting it to spin, to rotate, and to clear this timeline in all times and spaces and through the quantum spaces as well. I want to express my gratitude to you for showing up and doing this work. It's not always easy, but I believe it can be rewarding, and I just see the world as being so much better for us, sparkling on the inside. And I want to also invite you to a spiritual entrepreneurs networking group that I have on November 5th, which is in America as Election Day. And aptly put, some of us may be frustrated with how things are going in the system. And so this is going to be an inner child reclamation. And in this way, we can reclaim what our inner child is moving through in our business and hope to move into better and deeper harmony with that. And so you can find a link in the description of the event that I'm holding.
And I'm really excited to help you with your business and support your up-leveling by listening to your inner child and being able to express things a little bit more clearly with a little bit more flow. So thank you so much for listening to the show, and please share it with a friend. Bye for now.